Hey everybody, movie review next here back with another review. And this time I saw Atomic Blonde. This is a spy thriller film directed by David Leitch from 2017, and it stars Charlize Theron, James McAvoy, John Goodman, Eddie Marsan, Sophia Boutella, um, and Toby Jones. In this film, an undercover MI6 agent is sent to Berlin during the Cold War to investigate the murder of a fellow agent and recover a missing list of double agents. So, what did I think of Atomic Blonde? It's okay. That's the best I can say about it because honestly, this movie was quite boring for a multitude of reasons. I'm not going to say all the action was bad, that's not the issue, but a massive disappointment knowing the background of David Leitch and I mean only seeing this and Bullet Train so far of his works. I'm not holding out a ton of hope for something excellent, but yeah, this was a big letdown for me. But let me get to the cast. Charlize Theron plays Lorraine Broughton. I think a good enough job playing this character. I usually look at her and I'm like, I don't know if I'd buy her as a badass. I think she can be a badass. It's just that this character doesn't have enough of a story to her. She's not that likable, really. She's just there. Um, sh- just very like I don't love anyone. I don't even care about anyone. Like kind of annoying character to root for. James McAvoy plays David Purcell. He's good too. He gets a bit over the top, but he still gives a good performance. John Goodman plays Emmett Kurtzfield, a CIA auditor, I guess, or something. He works with Charlie's character. He was fine. I like John Goodman a lot. It's nice to see him in a movie like this. Eddie Murphy, Spyglass. He's a guy that supposedly has memorized this list, and I'll get to the fucking list. I like him. Sophia Boutella plays Delphine LaSalle. Um, I always like Sophia Boutella for the most part. She works here. And Toby Jones plays Eric Gray. He's fine too. This film. You see all of the quotes on the poster talking about more badass as Born, which I don't even think Born's that badass. Witness the birth of a new and original. What? My dumbass just dropped that. Uh, of a new and original hero. And I get again. Whatever. You already know that I gave this a 6 out of 10. The birth of a new and original hero from Joanna Robinson of Vanity Fair. Um, original? What? What about this character's original, first off? She's a female character who's a badass at everything. And I'm not gonna say she's a Mary Sue, but she does have a like not much of a character at all. It's oh, she's very whispery, and the British accent is just really it means I'm acting good. And I'm kidding. I think she's good in this, but what about this character's original? A female agent or MI6 agent is not original. We already had that type of stuff in the James Bond series, The Spy Who Loved Me, where basically the Bond girl become like at some point is like, you killed my fucking husband. Um, and there's uh even more in just in the James Bond series. There's freaking what's her face from Michelle Yeoh in Tomorrow Never Dies. So it's not that she's a female that's original. Maybe it's the bisexual part. Okay, that's something I'm not going to shit on this movie about because that is an interesting thing that is real in MI6 agents, CIA agents having to use your body as a tool for gaining information, sleeping with somebody, pumping for information, that whole thing, like James Bond does. The fact that she's bi actually has a plot reason to be here, so I'm not mad at that. I'm actually welcoming to if we could have more movies that can somehow mold that into being like an interesting story beat rather than being there because oh what's the term? Uh well, representation. I'm pretty sure gay people have been fine with playing straight people all this time. There's literally movies with trans people who play biological women. Jolt, Together with Ed Helms. Um, but yeah, wish we could get more of that. That'd be awesome. But here again, her being bisexual is like I guess it's technically a little original. You don't have a lot of spy movies where the main character is bisexual. It's they don't do a lot with it, I will say. But I'm also glad that they don't make it like a big thing. They don't make a big deal about it. They're very nonchalant about it, which is how I think it should be because it could have become very annoying. Like if there were like 15, if there were like more than three like lesbian sex scenes, like hardcore lesbian sex scenes, I'd be like, okay, this is way too much. Just stop. But I like how they did that. That is not my issue with this movie. This movie, even though somebody might say, oh, you like a lot of action movies with very generic scripts or stories, they usually do something different. This is David Leitch is the director of this, and he co-directed the first John Wick. I don't think this has really anything to do with John Wick, story-wise, action-wise, or anything, if I'm being perfectly honest. And I'm not gonna be one of those guys that makes the unless there's clear rip-off intentions, I'm not gonna mention John Wick in that way, other than to shit on the people who compare every action movie nowadays to John Wick. But um there's in this the one of the main things that John Wick did was it had a little bit of a sense of humor to it, at least in the first three. There was that like sly, like kind of darkish sense of humor, or they had kind of snappy dialogue. It differentiated it in those ways, and it made for interesting speech. John Wick Chapter 4 did not have that for me at all, but this this is a very dry movie. Uh, Story-wise especially, because the entire plot revolves around this list. A list of names of double agents or something. I kind of lost the plot as I went along, but because literally in a movie like this, if you have entertaining action scenes and boring dialogue scenes, usually that's all you need. You just need enough action scenes so that people don't get bored. But if you have a good plot, then it takes the movie to a whole nother level. Like interesting, entertaining, well shot action scenes and dialogue scenes together make for something even better than you'd usually get. Because you have something like Die Hard, where the action scenes are very well done and the dialogue scenes are entertaining, and you don't know exactly what's going to happen because that was one of the first of its kind. Here, a lot of the dialogue scenes go on for way too long. Even the ones that don't go on for too long are about the same thing. The list, almost every single scene, they say, what about the list? Do you have the list? Did you memorize the list? Is that true? Did you actually have the list? And it got nuts. And that is a big issue I have with this film is the writing. Apparently Chris Stuckman praised the writing of this film. I don't know how you can praise the writing of this film but shit on a movie like Kidnap that came out the same year, which is 20,000 times better than this because it was a simple concept, had a great Halle Berry performance, Well shot, well directed, pretty short, 95 minutes if you actually see the full movie. Just for anybody, just real quick, Kidnap is not 82 minutes, it's 95 minutes. If you find a version online that's 82 minutes, that's an edited version of the movie. Watch the 95-minute version. It's a lot better paced. And is missing many key plot scenes, by the way. The Blu-ray in America is not the true version of the movie. Just saying. But I know those are going for two different things. Kidnap is more of a just a drama thriller, and this is more spy thriller kinda action. Um, but I would rather watch Kidnap than this. It's also like 15 minutes shorter, around that. But yeah, the action too. I gotta get to the action because that's one of the main selling points is the action is the um the action is for the most part watchable. There are a couple action scenes that I really did enjoy and I thought were well done. There's the one where she's in the one guy's apartment, she gets the like rope and whatever and starts like with the rope. I liked that. It's a well done action scene. And the stairwell scene. Pretty much everything has this weird blur filter like behind the actors as they're moving, and I feel like it was done to cover up some like kind of shaky choreography. You also have a high frame rate thing going on, kinda. It's not like 60 frames, but maybe like 40 frames per second, like slightly higher, because it just looks cheap in certain scenes. The one in the theater looks weird, and with the projection in the back, that should have been really cool, like kind of like Kill Bill, the silhouette fight scene. I love that scene, and I think it's a really cool looking way to do an action scene. But this one, I was like, why doesn't this look hit? And it's not because Charlize Theron isn't doing the stunts right, because I think she is doing the stunts well, or doing the fighting well. It looks like she's doing it, and if she isn't, they did a good job hiding the stunt doubles. But the frickin' just the amount of times where I was like, this action scene should be more exciting, but it's not. For some reason, I don't know why. I do not know why. So yeah, the action again, it's a mixed bag. I'd say two of the action scenes really worked. The stairwell sequence. I do not agree with people saying the stairwell sequence is one of the best action scenes of the 2010s. I 100% disagree on that. But I do think it is very well done. Even though they could have done more in the one uh take. There's actually another movie that's kind of a similar subject. Actually, I can grab a couple of movies that I would have watched over this, and I'll mention why. Just bear with me a second, because they're two female starring action movies that I think improve on a lot in this, action wise or story wise. So, for on the subject of the one take action scene, I think there's a bit of a better one in this film, the rhythm section with Blake Lively, Jude Law. And this was a movie that got a lot of shit when it came out. A lot of people were expecting a super big action spectacle. Even on the back, it says action packed thriller. I think that is a very poor choice of words for this movie because it really isn't an action movie. It's uh it's more of a drama thriller like character study because you get really deep into this character of Stephanie Patrick. And I've recommended this before on a video I did like earlier on in my channel called like 30 underrated action thriller films or action films and and I still stand by that from what I remember. This movie has a really nice car chase that's all done in one continuous take, not stitched together like this one. This one's fight scene was done in stitched together takes. This one was actually done all in one take, and it looks really cool. There's a lot of shit happening, and you're kind of like there with Stephanie during that scene. And just overall, I think this is a much more interesting film, even though it's going for a bit of a different thing. And for like an action, a bit more like actiony movie, you've got Anna, directed by Luc Besson, with Sacha Luz, who I think also gives a great performance. Um, and the action scenes here don't have that same issue, even though I would say that this is more of a drama in many places. Uh, there's the scene, the action. There's three primary action scenes in this movie. There's one in the restaurant that I think is awesome. It's brutal, it's bloody, it's insane. There's the montage near the middle, which was fun. And there's at the end at the embassy. But I would 100% if for people who weren't into um Atomic Blonde, I would recommend this. I think Luc Besson did a great fucking job on that. Um, but with Atomic Blonde, I think calling it an action movie. Okay, I guess it's technically an action movie, but I wish there was. Excuse me. I wish there was more for sure. And I'm kind of disappointed in David Leitch's action direction here for aren't the stairwell scene and the scene with the rope. Also, the lighting was annoying as hell. There was this constant neon thing. And the neon can look cool. I've liked a lot of movies that have used quite a bit of neon. But there are sections in the movie where I see not a single actual skin tone, and I started to feel like tired, and that can tend to happen when you do something like that. So I really wish they would have cut down on the neon. These thing love 80s music. Do not fucking get me wrong. I love 80s music more than I do music nowadays. But when you're using 80s music as a way to get people to shut up about their issues by just being like, "Oh, something stupid just happened. 80s song. I forgot it. I forgot what was happening." That's what this movie seems to do. There is 80s music used as a punchline to every single scene, and it's annoying. There are scenes where 80s songs will just play and they don't have any context to the scene. There's a scene where a bad guy who I swear to God never shows up again, I never recognized him again, beats up a guy with his skateboard while 99 Luftballons by Nana plays. And I was like, why is this happening? And why is this song playing? It just seemed really out of place. It just seemed so out of the blue. It was like, what? It was just so confusing. And yeah, like again, the writing in this movie just without some of the action scenes and without some of the performances in this would legitimately be like I would consider this like a bad movie. Because I think that a female MI6 agent in the vein of James Bond could work. Yes. Not turning James Bond into a woman, but in the vein, I think it could work. But the way they're trying to do it, where they're like, okay, we're going to turn James Bond into a woman, fuck no. I don't agree with that at all. Um, but, oh yeah, the other main issue I had with this movie, the characters are nothing for the most part. They have their motivations are very just whatever. Like, you can see them turning bad from a mile away because you know exactly what this type of movie is trying to do because the story is so generic and does really nothing new twist wise. It's just very unspecial. Charlize Theron's character, even though I think herself did a good job, her character is very bland. If I have to say good things about this, I'd say it looks like a movie. It was made for 30 million. It doesn't look cheap except for in those like action scenes where they do the weird things, like the blur filter weird shit. I never think has made an action movie look good. Um the The one bit of wire work that I could 100% notice was the guy getting hit by the car in the opening scene. Uh, that was very obvious and it looked really bad. Other than that, the film looks pretty good. It's shot well. Again, the acting performances for the most part are pretty good. A couple good action scenes, but that's about it. I would not ever watch this again. I might sell this 4K Blu-ray because I have no real reason to watch it again. Uh, like I just I don't know. It's just Focus Features. I haven't seen a lot of stuff that I've loved from them recently. I rewatched Closed Circuit and I was like very disappointed because I remembered loving it the first time I saw it, and then rewatching it, I was like, wait, this isn't great. I know what it's trying to do, but it isn't great. So like, yeah, I'm very disappointed with this film. I wish it was better. Hopefully the next one will be better. But yeah, that was my review of the rhythm section. If you've seen the film, let me know what your thoughts are on the comments down below. If you have any recommendations, put them down there as well. And movie reviewer next door out.